There's a bit of news coming out from the right wing on the issue of Mitch McConnell basically maneuvering with the Democrats to surrender the FCC to Obama choices. The Gateway Pundit has this article: Senate Majority Leader McConnell against free speech, surrendering FCC to Obama. Apparently he's doing this to, he's trading away control of the FCC in exchange for confirmation of his own staffer, Neil whatever, to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. McConnell. Classic nepotism. Do I believe this is true? Oh yeah, yes, I absolutely believe it is true. I also hope they succeed, not because I'm a fan of Mitch McConnell or I'm a fan of the Democratic-controlled FCC. In fact, personally, I'm of the opinion that you should nuke the whole goddamn thing, but only if you can nuke the big communication companies and the big internet service providers, which is why I'm in favor of this succeeding. Let me explain. So, who opposes Trump? The Republican establishment. They're his number one enemies, even more so than many of the establishment Democrats. The establishment Democrats, they want to get some things done. They want him to fail, sure, but they want to actually pass an infrastructure bill. The establishment Republicans don't. They want Trump to miserably fail, and they want to regain control of the party. They must not succeed. Trump's biggest enemies ain't the Bernie Sanders, the Elizabeth Warrens, the Nancy Pelosi's of the world. His biggest problems are the Paul Ryans and the Mitch McConnells of the world. And the reason why I want Mitch McConnell to succeed here is because the kind of people that the Republican establishment would try and push on Trump to get in the FCC would be the kind of people that would destroy net neutrality. You might complain about 1,001 things, and you'd be right, by the way, about the democratically controlled FCC. The worst decision that could ever happen is to have establishment Republican choices in the FCC. Like right now, the Republican Party, Trump has won the presidency, but he hasn't really destroyed, it's a period of transition. There are people rising up to basically take down the Republican establishment, get more Trump Republicans in power and all that. Until that happens, you really don't want the FCC to fall under Republican control, because what they do in the next moment after is basically give CNN and the big internet providers and the big media companies everything they wanted, which are also Trump's number one enemies. Net neutrality, as it is, helps Google, helps YouTube. Google, yeah, they supported Clinton. They could have done 1,000,001 things to basically screw over Trump, like take down my channel, take down Alex Jones, take down Project Veritas. They could have done 1,000,001 things. But Google and YouTube have been fighting a war for free speech for far longer than you might think. They've been fighting a war from the very beginning on the subject of YouTube. Without YouTube, we would not have had the Project Veritas videos, so we all know that, which did help Trump win. The reason is Silicon Valley ain't Trump's enemy. In fact, they could very well be Trump's allies. The more we get Peter Thiels on Trump's team, the better off we'll all be. Because they get it. They're independent thinkers. Yes, they supported Clinton, but that's more so because they believe that Trump is anti-science, that he nuked the planet and all that. They did it because of the narrative the Democrats were spewing and all that. But they don't need to be Trump's enemy. They could very well help Trump. And we need Google to succeed, and that's where net neutrality comes in. The net neutrality rules right now that are in place are rules the big communication companies are very much against. That should tell you exactly all you need to know. Yes, there are other things that screw over sites like Breitbart. There are things that screw over Alex Jones, InfoWars, all that. But net neutrality is key, because net neutrality helps Google, and Google, it has been fighting these companies for years. For years. They've been fighting them for over a decade, actually, in court. In fact, the reason those net neutrality rules were put in place is because those one of those internet service providers was trying to break the net neutrality rules that existed before, and they were taking it so far in terms of the internet that it got pretty much everyone's attention on YouTube, and they basically Obama's choices in the FCC, who not necessarily all of them care about, the fast lane, slow lane, which are people don't want that. 80% of the American people don't want that. They're in favor of net neutrality for good reason, because they don't want slower internet on certain sites. If you get slower internet on Breitbart takes a nuclear hit. You really don't want that to happen. So what they did, because of public pressure and because the Democrats depend so much on millennial voters, they had no choice but to basically create the current net neutrality laws. And conservatives went apeshit about it. I don't think there's any real reason to go apeshit about it. I think those rules are very good. I do think there's a million and one other problems with the FCC, and I personally would want it all nuked to the ground, but only if you could take down CNN along with it, which you can't. In fact, the current situation is pretty bad. Look, let me put it like this. In a fight between Google and AT&T, you really want to go with Google. Whatever issues Google has, the fact they supported Clinton, all that, they're a million times better than the big internet providers. In fact, Google is working to vastly improve the internet speed across America, which again only helps smaller outlets across the internet that do need higher speeds. They do need the same speeds on the internet, so net neutrality is very positive, very much needed. Steve Bannon would probably tell Trump this. The problem is Trump doesn't have the political capital to fight them on this. I mean, Christ, Trump has Libya, he has Syria, he has Yemen. He's got the infrastructure bill that a lot of the establishment Republicans will oppose. He's got the immigration, he's got the wall, he's got a million and one things that he will have to fight them with. Now, I don't doubt Trump's ability to fight. I'm just worried he's got a lot of shit on his plate. So for the moment, I hope Mitch McConnell's bullshit works, because that delays a fight until we can actually fight it and we can actually get picks in the FCC that make sense, that would not just basically be giving massive blowjobs to the big internet service providers, which is what no one should want. That's where I stand on this particular issue. Mitch McConnell's nepotism might save us all from CNN screwing over Breitbart. What the fucking world we live in. Isn't that just amazing? I mean, Christ, isn't that just amazing? And look, Google, Google has been fighting in court the big companies, media companies, for years. They've wanted to destroy Google for a long time. You really don't want that to happen. And you really don't want to give FCC to people that might screw over Google. That's where I stand. You may hate the Democrats, and quite frankly, you should. The FCC is not one area you want to take them on at the moment. That's more of a long-term thing. We've got other priorities. Focus on what matters. Focus on the fight that matters, and go back to this when we have won some things, and when Trump Republicans have taken over public offices, so that we don't get screwed over by the big media companies, which these establishment Republicans like.